New York City Mayor Eric Adams, the mayor of the greatest city on the planet, responsible basically for a standing military that I believe is like the seventh largest army on the planet, like the NYPD, with its own submarines. Mayor Adams is in trouble. He's been in trouble for quite a while. He has had a litany of scandals throughout his entire 3-year tenure so far, and one of those scandals is now finally coming to fruition. The Eric Adams did a crime. What was that crime? Loving Turkey too much. And I do not mean the deli meat. I mean the country, Turkey.
City Mayor Eric Adams is facing federal charges after being indicted by a grand jury. Those charges have just been unsealed. They include bribery, wire fraud, conspiracy, and accepting improper campaign contributions for nearly a decade. I want to bring in senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky, who's there at City Hall. Aaron, what's the latest on these charges?
Well, they are, as you outlined, Diane. They include bribery, wire fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and soliciting improper foreign campaign donations. And importantly, these involve not only his time as mayor and while he was running for mayor, but the charges predate even that and stretch back nearly a decade to conduct that's alleged while he was the borough president in Brooklyn. And it had long been rumored that there was alleged corruption at the time Adams was the Brooklyn borough president, but he has never been charged until now. The indictment contains images of hotel suites and other benefits that the mayor allegedly took as he was soliciting some of these donations. And the charges all.
If it's wrong to love the nation of Turkey, then put me in jail. I don't want to be right. Then I'm wrong. And guess what? Eric Adams is also in the right in the story. Free my mans! This is racism. This is white supremacy. This is the long dick of the law, okay? I'm sorry that baklava all of a sudden is a big problem, okay? He just simply said döner is a Turkish invention and so is baklava. And they came down hard because guess what, chat? The FBI run by Greek Armenians. Everybody knows that the FBI has been overtaken by both the Greeks and the Armenians simultaneously, and they came after him because he loved Turkey too much.
Also say that he accepted donations from Turkey in exchange for taking an official step, and that is trying to get the fire department to speed up its inspection of the new Turkish consulate across from the United Nations on the east side of Manhattan.
Wow. Wow. Oh, I'm sorry. He wanted to be efficient. He wanted to be efficient, dude. Oh, yeah. He got Armenian genocide denial bribery, which was pretty funny. Like, of course he did. Because of course he did, okay? We're going to talk about the serious stuff in a second. Hold on.
That had long been understood to be part of the investigation, but these charges make clear the conduct, as alleged, is much broader than that, Diane.
And Mayor Adams has denied all wrongdoing. How is he responding now that this indictment's unsealed?
We haven't heard from the mayor since the indictment was unsealed mere minutes ago, but we do expect the mayor to make remarks outside Gracie Mansion, where he's been huddled with advisors, attorneys, and aides. The mayor, in remarks before the indictment was unsealed, called these charges entirely false. He insisted he's innocent, and he suggested that this is political because he was critical of the Biden administration over the way it handled the migrant crisis.
You pre-watching this event? Eric Adams' polyamory arc is revealed alongside his criminal case because he was using one of his concubines for crimes. Now, this is why I am better than the likes of people who are bad at their jobs. When I was talking about how Eric Adams was obviously an incredible meme potential many years prior and continued my support for Eric Adams, there were other incredible tacticians, brilliant political minds out there glazing him. Why? Because they're always wrong. And why? Because I'm always right. Here's Nate Silver, also known as Nate Copper. It's probably foolish to think a New York City mayor will successfully translate into being a national political figure, but I still think Eric Adams would be in my top 5 for who will be the next Democratic presidential nominee after Joe Biden. He's going to be good at getting media attention and has a chance of carving out a niche that's different from what other Democrats are offering. That's a potentially powerful combination given how primaries are conducted nowadays. Also, the competition isn't great. I need you to understand, these people have terrible political instincts. When I was at the cut telling you that Eric Adams undoubtedly will, one, get indicted, and 2, be a spectacular failure across the board. There was the likes of Brett Stevens, who gets paid the big bucks to say Eric Adams is going to save New York. Look, I don't need to diss you off, but I'm particularly annoyed by all the savvy liberals who insist that Adams was a true moderate police reformer. All he did was shovel money to the NYPD, let them run as a criminal gang, do the bidding of real estate, and go clubbing as predicted. Exactly. Adam Johnson is correct. That is all Eric Adams did. And it's fun to have this moment of celebration. And I think it's an important moment of celebration because it shows once again how bad the political instincts are of the liberal intelligentsia and how utterly stupid they are and how much they just basically repeat and operate as a way of like normalizing dog shit politicians simply because they have arrived at a position of power and they are on the left flank, ostensibly, with right-wing ideals. That's simply all it takes for so many liberal intelligentsia to just simply say, it's great. This guy is great. Why is he great? Because he's like a conservative guy, but running on a Democratic ticket. He's got a D next to his name, and he's conservative. That's all it takes for mainstream media to immediately hype you up. No analysis, no serious look into the affairs, no serious interrogation of like what this person's point of view is and whether or not this is like popular, or even if it is popular, is this going to be good? Is his agenda going to be good for the population in general? Not even a little bit. If you want a fun time seeing how unfathomably dumb all the most serious politicians and journalists are in America, just Google Eric Adams date range 2021 to 2022, a treasure trove of how the discourse is controlled by colossal clowns. National Dems are calling in a new communications expert, Eric Adams. Joe Biden embraces New York's mayor as crime wave threatens Democrats. Again, wrong. The crime panic in New York State almost cost them the elections in New York. You had Lee Zeldin gaining momentum as a direct consequence of Kathy Hochul adopting the fucking right-wing framing on crime. Meanwhile, it was literally the criminals themselves also conducting these affairs. The press and politicians were so desperate to delegitimize the George Floyd protests, and along came a tough black cop. It was like catnip or opium. Joe Biden embraces New York mayor's crime wave. New York's mayor as crime wave threatens Democrats. New York mayor offers National Dems a hand in 2024. I want to make sure the party retains the White House, Eric Adams said in a sit-down with Politico. Nate Silver also said he's going to be a glorious national politician. New York Post said, vote to save New York. Pick Eric Adams today for the future of our city. Brett Stevens, Eric Adams is going to save New York. Here is our favorite goat, Olivia Nuzzi, trying to get a prominent slot in the Polycule. Also, another incredible hack, Olivia Nuzzi. I think she can write a decent article. I will admit that. But ultimately, once again, her ideological rudder is so firmly planted in the contrarian right and also busted her. I mean, she's just, you know, I need you to understand, okay? This is pure grift, okay? It's all access journalism. These people are simply regurgitating whatever is the best possible way forward for the Democratic Party to behave in a right-wing manner, okay? We have, over the past couple of decades especially, pushed further and further right, and the media has engaged in this circle jerk where there's no critical thinking, there's no adversarial journalism whatsoever. Every single thing that they do is basically a ad. And that is precisely the reason why so many of you at this point turn around and immediately adopt this right-wing framing and go, it's not for me, Hasan, but maybe it's for someone else out there who is more moderate. Maybe it's for someone else out there who wants more conservative positions to be repeated by Democrats. Understand that it is not an accident that you arrived at this conclusion that seemingly is not for you, but for the betterment of society. If a Democrat is the one doing these like right-wing legislative, the Democrat is like fulfilling the right-wing legislative agenda.
Negative interpretation of some of what you're doing right now, because your approval ratings, they kind of suck right now.
But it's supposed to. It's supposed to,
you were
because
at,
I'm doing hard
60% in the first year.
I'm doing
now
hard stuff.
You're down to 28%, which is not just a historic low for you, but for any mayor in the history of that survey.
Right.
So,
but what mayor has dealt with COVID, and 177,000 people dropped into this city without any federal support. Mm-hmm. These are hard decisions, and so
he's talking about immigrants here. By the way, the Eric Adams Poly thing is actually like a secret. It's not. No one has ever actually investigated it. It's like a New York journalist thing. It's like an open secret.
I would rather people say we're going to take it out on you, Eric. So
It's so funny for a New York mayor to be like, man, what the fuck are we going to do with all these migrants? You're the mayor of New York City. What the fuck are you saying? This is the one area, like, around the globe where you simply cannot say that. Okay. It is a metropolitan city entirely built on unrestricted migration. Like, I'm not even like, Ellis Island is right there, obviously, but like, New York City also has maintained its incredible diversity. What the fuck are we talking about? Like, it is one of the most diverse places on the planet, dog. What do you mean, these migrants?
can navigate us through this. It's
Yeah.
my responsibility. I'm the mayor of the city. And I don't sit back and say, oh my God, my poll numbers are down. No, people are going to look back over this and say, this guy managed us through the crises. Because the legacy is not what people think of you while you're there, is where people look back. When you compare what I have done to any other mayor in the history of this city, people are going to see what I've done. New Yorkers are angry. And so when you're angry, who you take it out on? The mayor.
Yeah. He's like, it's not that New Yorkers are mad at me because I suck and I just basically stole public funds and gave like additional tens of millions of dollars to my buddies in the NYPD, which I was a part of, remember? But actually it's because they just don't understand. You know, my mind works in fascinating ways. And these fools do not have the intellectual prowess to comprehend the machinations. Yeah, no, people were not upset that I closed libraries so I could put the Candy Crush Brigade in every metro station, in every subway station. It was actually because they just simply don't understand that these moves were for the betterment of society.
Some of the backstory here, because this comes after a string of searches and even resignations of top city officials. Are you seeing anything in the indictment that indicates more charges could come down?
Well, I'm still going through it. It's 57 pages, but Mayor Adams is the only defendant named in this indictment. So for all of the searches and seizures involving other top city officials of late, the federal prosecutors have chosen to indict only Mayor Adams.
Yeah, increased overtime for subway duty from $4 million to $155 million. And what did you have to show for that in revenue recovery? I believe it was $100,000 in revenue recovery from fare evasion. $100,000. Now explain to me if this is how you actively do good governing. Also, these freaks recently shot a bunch of people, including themselves. Remember, or maybe he just wanted to give his buddies more money. Eric Adams stole $10 million of public funds, so according to NYPD's math, that means he deserves to be shot 3,448,275.862 times. That's like, yeah, that's 3 million, almost 4 million times the fare evasion that he did with the $10 million of public funds that he stole. Why can't a politician in an amazing job just be happy like a great public servant making a few $100,000 a year and live in a dope house for free? Why do they immediately need to try to become corrupt multi-bajillionaires? Because you don't get to that, dude. It's the mayor of New York. The position itself is literally is designed so that you are hyper militant against like any poor person. Your job is to basically maintain. You're completely captured by real estate developers. You're completely captured by corporate landlords, and your job is to basically punish any non-white person or any poor person as aggressively as you possibly can and purge Manhattan from the unwashed masses. That is the only type of person. You're a Wall Street puppet. That is the only type of person who can ever get to that position of power in New York. He sounds like a normal New York mayor. That's the beautiful part about this. He is, and this is a very Trumpian phenomenon, he is a very normal New York mayor. It's just that he didn't do the proper paperwork, number one, and he also went above and beyond in his corruption. And he did it in a very way. I also do personally believe that this is a byproduct of capitalism withering away like the institutions and even like creating people that are not even interested in hiding their graft, right? Hiding the obvious theft of public resources. Like they're just becoming more obvious with the ways in which they steal. That's all it is. And it's very, I mean, it's Trumpian. Trump did it very out in the open too. And what are the consequences for it? Basically nothing. As long as you are buttering the bread of those wealthy people in positions of power, most people usually turn a blind eye to this shit. As long as you also follow the proper protocols. That's why I always laughed about the Bob Menendez stuff too. Like, he is like historically corrupt, and he still got elevated by the Democratic Party. Even before this second indictment and federal investigation into Bob Menendez, he already had that exact same investigation once. One must ask the question, are the Democrats this stupid? The answer is yes, they are very stupid, for the record. They are very, very stupid. And the ways in which our politicians like grift this way gets dumber and dumber and more transparent every day, because they don't even feel the need to hide this. These vulturous monsters are basically eating away the corpse of American empire.
Adams, at least for now. That doesn't mean charges couldn't be superseded. There could be additional defendants. But for now, the mayor is the only one. We should say that even before the indictment was unsealed, federal agents arrived at Gracie Mansion to give the mayor a summons to appear in court. We still don't know when that date will be, but we believe it'll be early next week. He was also searched again at Gracie Mansion, and there was a subpoena for his electronic devices. So now twice in less than a year, Mayor Adams has had his devices seized by federal agents.
One of the funniest aspects of this is that there is like a legal way of doing this. Like, the American government, American governance, the American structure has basically serialized and processed bribery as long as you do the proper paperwork. That's why it's so funny when these guys are like, man, I really want to just like get outside of the realm of lobbying. Like, the difference between what Bob Menendez does and what every other politician does is that he doesn't have the proper paperwork from like a fair registered lobbyist. You know what I mean? That's the difference. They didn't fill the proper forms in this circumstance, you know? Here's some really funny moments from the indictment, okay? 1, Eric Adams got a voluntary meeting with the FBI, excused himself to go to the bathroom, and deleted messages and communications that they were asking him about in the bathroom break. Adams' staffer also agreed to speak with FBI agents and falsely denied the criminal conduct of herself and Adams, among others. At one point during her voluntary interview, the Adams staffer excused herself to a bathroom and while there, deleted the encrypted messaging application she had used to communicate with Adams, the promoter, the Turkish official, the airline manager, and others. Incredible stuff. More on that front. The indictment claims that Adams' campaign staffer told a potential donor that Adams probably wouldn't want to accept illegal donations, but then checked with Adams and learned that he was actually totally cool with it. On June 22nd, 2018, the same day as the fundraising event just described, the Adams staffer and the promoter discussed by text message a possible trip by Adams to Turkey. The promoter stated in part, "Fundraising in Turkey is not legal, but I think I can raise money for your campaign off the record." The Adams staffer inquired, "How will Adams declare that money here?" The promoter responded, "He won't declare it, or we'll make the donation through an American citizen in the U.S., a Turk. I'll give cash to him in Turkey, or I'll send it to an American. He will make a donation to you." The Adams staffer replied, "I think he wouldn't want to get involved in such games. That might cause a big stink later on, but I'll ask anyways." The Adams staffer then asked, "How much do you think would come from you?" The promoter responded, "Maximum 100K. The Adams staffer wrote, "100K? Do you have a chance to transfer that here? We can't do it while Eric is in Turkey." To which the promoter replied, "Let's think." After this conversation, Adams staffer asked Eric Adams, whether the Adams staffer should pursue the unlawful foreign contributions offered by the promoter, and contrary to Adams staffer's expectations, Eric Adams directed that the Adams staffer pursue the promoter's illegal scheme. He was like, "Yeah, no, I would like that very much, please. Can you prove that this wasn't you?" Adams staffer says, he's also asking, where else can they go in Turkey? Do you have a recommendation? Airline manager says, 4 Seasons. Adams staffer says, it's too expensive. Airline manager says, why does he care? He is not going to pay. His name will not be on anything either. Adams staffer says, super. Here are some of the benefits that he got that were not disclosed. India via Turkey, free upgrade to business class for 2 on a round trip from New York to India. $12,000 value, upwards of $12,000, not disclosed. From France, Turkey, and China, free business class tickets for 3 on a round trip from New York to France, Turkey, and China, heavily discounted stay in Bentley Suite of St. Regis in Istanbul. $41,000, not disclosed. China via Turkey, free business class ticket for 2 on a round trip from New York to China, $16,000. Hungary via Turkey, free upgrade to business class for 2 on a round trip from New York to Hungary, $12,000. Turkey, free upgrade to business class for 1 on flight from New York to Turkey. Free stay in the Cosmopolitan Suite of the St. Regis Istanbul. Free meals, transportation, and entertainment in Istanbul, upwards of $9,000. Turkey, solicited and accepted but then canceled. Free upgrade to business class for 2 on round trip from New York to Turkey. Free or steeply discounted luxury hotel and resort stays, transportation, entertainment, and meals, $21,000. Ghana via Turkey, free upgrade to business class for 2 on round trip from New York to Ghana. Free meal and transportation during Istanbul layover, $12,000, not disclosed. Isn't that a tiny amount of money to throw your life away for? Yes. However, he did a fuckload more. He did a lot worse. But this is like the highly illegal stuff that is above board. You know what I mean? It's just like over the table, incredibly illegal. Another conversation with Adam Staffer said, make it look real. He is being watched. Turkish Airlines tried to charge Adams $50 for a last minute flight, and a staffer responded, let it be somewhat real. It ended up being $1,100, and he got upgraded to business class for free. I love that they were also aware that they were being watched, and they still did it anyway, which is very respectful. What's in it for Turkey, though? I mean, it's obviously there are some aspects of the pay for play scheme was to speed run the process of like the fire department doing checks on the new Turkish embassy. Some of the things that they demanded was that he deny the Armenian genocide. You know, Turkish soft power at play, baby. The ultimate Eric Adams thing is that the feds have this message. Eric Adams, the defendant, continued to conceal the benefits he received from foreign nationals seeking to gain influence over him. Adams did not report any of the 2019 gifts he received from the airline manager or the promoter on his annual disclosure form. In addition, in March 2019, while exchanging text messages to plan another possible trip to Turkey in which the airline manager would arrange travel for Adams, the Adams staffer texted Adams to be on the safe side. Please delete all messages you send me. Adams responded, always do, which is also funny because like obviously you can recover deleted messages. How is a cop so bad at hiding this stuff? Guys, what are you talking about? It is precisely because he is a cop that he didn't think of the law. Cops are the people that know the law the least. That literally is one of the most prominent reasons as to why he was so transparent with his obvious schemes. Because cops are technically above the law and they violate it all the time. And they demonstrate their lack of knowledge or interest in learning the law regularly. That is the whole reason why he probably was like, yeah, whatever, I'm a fucking cop. I've been violating the law all day, every day since the beginning. Anyway, this was a fun moment here as well. Eric Adams claims he changed his cell phone password to prevent his staff from deleting any messages or information. Unfortunately, he told investigators he immediately forgot his new password and so wouldn't be able to assist them in opening his phone. Okay. He also got bribery for Armenian genocide denial. On April 21st, 2022, the Turkish official messaged the Adams staffer noting that Armenian Genocide Remembrance Day was approaching and repeatedly asked the Adams staffer for assurances that Adams would not make any statement about the Armenian genocide. The Adams staffer confirmed that Adams would not make a statement about the Armenian genocide. Adams did not make such a statement. That's like, I think that's one of the saddest aspects of this kind of back and forth from the Turkish side is that the things like their demands are so silly. Like, it's like, please don't mention the Armenian genocide. We'll give you $80,000 worth of free trips. It's like really, dude? That's the big thing that you got out of this? Like, it just makes me feel kind of sad. Israel's out there openly being like, give us $7 trillion right now. And like, Turks are just like, please don't recognize the Armenian genocide. Israel's like, we are doing a genocide. You need to give us more weapons to continue doing the genocide. And on the Turkish side, it's like, please don't mention the Armenian genocide. It would be really sad. It would be really bad for us if you mentioned it. Oh, God. The government alleges that Eric Adams placed a Turkish Airlines official, Cenk Öcal, on his transition team in exchange for free upgrades on Turkish Airlines. In early December 2021, Adams announced that the members of his transition committees, which were established to advise the mayor-elect and his team on policies and appointments before he took office. Initially, there were no members of the Turkish community on any of the committees. On December 8th, 2021, the Adams staffer sent the airline manager a link to a list of Adams's transition committees and asked the airline manager, have you looked at the list? The airline manager responded, it would suit me well to be the lead or senior advisor. 2 days later, the airline manager sent a message reiterating, lead please, smiley face. Otherwise, seat number 52 is empty on the way back, meaning that if the airline manager was not given a position on the transition committee, it would affect Adams' travel benefits from the Turkish airline. Eric Adams and Cenk Öcal here prominently displayed at a Turkish Airlines party, by the way. This wouldn't be the first concerted effort at Armenian genocide denial in New York City. Israel's public image campaign is pretty shoddy, but nothing compares to Turkey hiring a multiracial pogo stick flash mob and skywriters to deny the Armenian genocide in New York City. Russia plus Armenia. It looks like Adams' war on rats should have been waged closer to home. The feds clearly had access to the panic cleanup attempts by Adams and his crew after the investigation began. While the straw donor scheme outlined in the indictments is meatier, Adams seemed easily bribed by luxury gifts and accommodations provided by Turkish Airlines. Eric Adams seems to have been wheeling and dealing with the Turks from what is likely Osteria Labaya, the fancy restaurant run by a pair of convicted money launderers. He goes to Labaya practically every other day. The self-proclaimed vegan almost always gets the branzino. That's another funny part about Eric Adams that was like immediately. Eric Adams is like that one friend who lies for no apparent reason. By the way, if you recall, if you've been in here for a while, you already know this, but like Eric Adams would regularly lie about that you don't have to lie about, including, but not limited to, being a vegan. Okay? Like it's like tiny things that play no role in his campaign whatsoever. And yet he did it anyway. Eric Adams sought donations of the Turkish government and government affiliated businessmen, which they gave through straw donors and through which the Adams campaign got $10 million in matching funds via New York City's matching funds program. This is, as far as I know, separate from the previous Eric Adams straw donor scandal involving his old NYPD buddies, and in a minor role, the girlfriend of a displaced pollster who popularized Abolish ICE before taking a job with Sam Bankman-Fried. Who is he talking about, I wonder? New York political journalist, it is time. You need to confirm the long-standing rumors that Eric Adams is in a polyamorous relationship. DM now. So this is why I said it's like a known secret in New York City journalism that Eric Adams has been in poly relationships, but no one has ever. I think they just think it's too personal and irrelevant, I guess, to like really cover. Oh, that was another fun Eric Adams moment. Remember his supposed cop friend who died, whose picture he kept in his wallet, but it was actually a stock photo that he had his staff manually age? Yeah, that was fun. I'm telling you, this is why I say he's like such a funny character, because he like lies about irrelevant shit that he does not need to lie about at all.